All right, welcome to 9.3. If this is still in your book, you do not have to do this page. So move on to 9.4. So this is where we're going to deal with exploring cosine law. So at the back of your book, if you looked at your equations, cosine law are these ones rearranged for all the angles and rearranged for all of the sides, depending on what you need for you. We did sine law, now we'll do cosine. So let's try these. X squared equals 3 squared plus 4 squared minus 0.5 times 14 times 3. So make sure in your calculator you do this section by itself, then square these and add them, and then subtract. You will get 2. Same thing here, do these, and then subtract them, and you'll get 2.6. Try them in your calculator just to see if you can actually do it. Tran is a park warden. She walks 5.5K, then 4.5K. How far is she from the start? Can you use sine law? No. We only know the outside and 1 degree here. We don't know enough to use sine law. You need to know one side and the opposite angle to use sine. You need one side and opposite angle for sine law. So cosine for ABC is, there's the formula right there for us. You can perform using the cosine law to solve. We have this and we have this. C squared is, well, if we rearrange, it's a squared plus b squared minus 2a times b cos c. How far was Tran from the start? Well, we're looking for little b, so let's use little b right here. B squared is a squared plus c squared minus 2 times 8 times c cos b. So the way you write it in, you take 4.5, which is your little a. I guess if you guys didn't know, this is little a, this is little b, this is little c, big A, big B, big C. So we're going to take 4.5 squared plus c, which is 5.5 squared, minus 2 times 4.5 times 5.5 times cos b, which is cos of 45 degrees. Then square root these two. That's going to be 20.25 plus 30.25 minus 49.5 if you multiply these three, and cos 45. Then you add these together, and then you subtract what cos 45 times this is. So you do this together, and then you subtract them. And you're going to get 15.498, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you know how to do that in your calculator. I will show you this step right here, just in case you don't know. So you have to go 20.25 plus 30.25, then minus bracket 49.5 times cos 45 equals, there's our answer, 15.4982, and that's what we got. Then this is still squared, so we have to square root it. We square root both sides. That means that we have to square root this. The way to do that is second function on this calculator. Second function square root will be of the 15.89 is 3.9 and 3.9k. Does that make sense? Let's look back. 3.9k away, that does make sense because we're dealing with between 3 to 5K. So if it was like 50, this would definitely be wrong. Okay, let's move on to the next example. Tiana makes pendants from glass. She sells the pendant at Art Craft. She needs a triangle piece of glass with the dimensions shown on the left here. At what angle should Tiana cut the glass at P? Record the answer on the diagram. So the way I like to do these is I would make P a B, S a C, and Q an A. And that way I can still use the formula normally if I wasn't given the formula. But I was given the formula here, so we might as well just use Q, P, and S. But I'll show you where it helps later on, because it's kind of complicated when they start going P, Q, S, Z, W, X, and you have to change all of them in your formula. That gets kind of annoying. But we're given the formula here in this way, so that we'll keep going that way for this question. So P equals 5, Q is 3.5, S is 4.5. So we can plug it all in. 5 squared plus 3.5 squared plus 4.5 squared minus 2, 3.5, 4.5 cos P. We're going to rearrange for cos P eventually. 25, 12.25, 20.25, 31.5. Now, this is all going so far okay. These two we can flip over to the other side. So 25 by just making them negatives. 25 minus 20.25 minus 12.25. So we made them those two are right there now, and they're negative from that side. We flip them over, change their sign. And then this one is still minus 31.5 because that minus doesn't leave, continues being there, cos P. We do this, we get negative 7.5 equals negative 31.5 P, cos P. Now, these two are attached by multiplication. Opposite of multiplication is division. So we have to divide by this number on both sides to get rid of it on this side, so we isolate cos P. The way to do that, right here, 7.5 and negative 31.5. You flipped it to the bottom. Now we can divide these two for cos P. So the two negatives cancel, so they're positive. 7.5 divided by 31.5 is a big decimal. So let's do that on our calculators. I don't remember if I showed you guys how to do that. 7.5 divided by 31.5 equals a decimal, but we don't want a decimal answer. We want an angle. So we're going to inverse cos that, which is that cos negative 1 of that decimal is equal to 76. And that does make sense. So 76 degrees. They should cut the glass at 76 degrees. Make sure you know how to do cos negative 1 when you are preparing for the exam. You'll have to know how to do all this on your calculator. Okay, solution 2, rearrange the cosine law. Okay, well, we can rearrange for cos P. That's what it looks like if you just have cos P. We can put all the values from up here into the bottom down here. So Q is 3.5, S is 4.5, P is 5, times that, times that. So that's what you get. And square those and minus them all, times all these, you get the same exact thing, 7.5 over 31.5. And then you have to inverse it just like we did on our calculator earlier, and you'll get 76 degrees, just like we did. This is just showing you how to do it if we were given the formula initially already without having to rearrange. That's why Mr. K is really nice to you and gives you every version of the cosine law on the back. Okay. And also they give it to you here, rearranging cosine law. So all three are there. Good. Let's move on to the practice. So this is where it's your job. Write the form of the cosine law needed to determine, again, if this is too hard for you to figure out, all you have to do is convert this to A, B, C. That means this is little b, this is little a, this is little c, and then let's say we're solving for b. Well, cos b is what? Well, lucky you, it's on the other side. Cos b is a squared plus b squared minus c squared, all over 2ab, right? AC. So that's all you have to do. You guys figure it out for this. So label this one, figure out the formula for it. What's the measure of the unknown side? Let me do one of these. I'll do the one that they gave me the formula. You can convert these to ABC if you want and figure it out. I'm gonna do it with this formula. So d squared is little f, which is 12 squared, plus g squared, which is 20 squared, minus 2 times 12 times 20 cos d 78. So Mr. K knows that when I put all this in my calculator, I get 444. Then I have to square root it, and that will give me about 21. So that's my answer. Your job to do it on that side. Measure of each angle. I will do A. Cos h is m squared, so I'm just gonna plug it all in. 39 squared plus n is 45 squared minus h, which is 27 squared, all over 2 times 39 times 45. So all that equals 2817 over 3510. And this is cos h. So I have to get this in decimal form and inverse it, which is at -1. And I get an angle. So angle H equals about 37 degrees. Excellent. Your job is to fill that in with there and put it in your calculator. Let's see the next side. We have determine the length of side C using each method. Very easy. Use Pythagoras, use cosine law, see what you get. It's probably going to be the same, but just prove it. B, what is the value of 2AB cos C if the angle is a right angle? 0. Simplify the cosine law. If angle C is a right angle, well, if it's 0, 0 cos is 0, times all this is 0, so it's just this. That's all you're left with if this is 0. So that goes away. What's the result? You're left with Pythagorean theorem. That's what that is, which is up there. Awesome. We have 5. Okay, so we have little b. We are looking for a. We have big A. We have little c. So I'm going to write down the formula for you. You figure out and plug it all in. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. Fill it all in, get your answer. What is it? It will probably be, it'll be close to 40, but more. That's what I'll give you. Okay, we're looking at the Louvre here. I'm gonna redraw and give you the right answers. 35.42 meters. Then we got 33.10, 33.10. We have A, we have B, we have C. What are the angles? Well, I'm gonna give you a hint. B and C are the same. So when you solve for one of these, let's do cos B. A squared plus B, C squared minus B squared all over 2AC. Plug all of them in. And then cos inverse it to get an angle of whatever it is. Then you have the angle of B, which equals angle of B, and it'll also equal angle C because their openings are the same size. If they're both like this, they're both open the same, that means their angles are going to be the same. So B and C are the same. To get A, all you have to do is go 180 minus angle B minus angle C, and you'll get whatever this is, which will be angle A. So now I've taught you how to do that one. Your job to do it. And then Yanni. He is a contractor in Hannah. How might Johnny use the cosine law when he's building a roof? If Johnny knows the length of each rafter and the width of the structure, he could use the cosine law to calculate angles. So that's number 7 for you. Next video, we'll be moving on to 9.5.